There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. So said Nelson Mandela. Hello, I'm Tej, and on today's episode of Chizuba Talks, I have an incredible personality. She is an entrepreneur, she's an author, and most importantly, a foster parent to not one, not two, but 300 children. Miss Diggs, as her foster kids affectionately call her, has provided short to medium term housing for over 300 children during the last 11 years, including six separate sets of siblings for 2 or more years. Welcome to Chizuba Talks, Rose.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Absolute honor to have you here. Could you tell us what inspired you to establish Down 7 Up 8? Very interesting name, though. And what was the focus on?
Um, well, just starting with the name, Down 7, Up 8. We all know that in life, sometimes things are going to put you down. Some things are going to fall short. The whole concept is no matter how many times life puts you down, don't stay down. Get up one more time. It's also quoted in the Bible about down 7 times and you get up 8. So never stay in that same position. Do everything you possibly can to elevate yourself from that down position to an up position.
Right. And that advice is for every field, for every kind of person living on this earth.
Everybody.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I loved it. And so tell us, when did you start this organization and what made you feel that, I need to do something about the system? First, if you could also tell us, the audience who doesn't know much about the foster care system in the US, if you could just briefly introduce that to us as well.
Okay. Well, let me just put out the disclaimer that the information I'm providing does not reflect every system,
Yeah.
every state, or every county, even in the United States. They all vary by slight differences. However, the system is put in place for the caring of children when their parents cannot, are not able to, or fall a little short of being able to care for the children, to give them a quality of life that allows them to function as an adult eventually. But just starting out as a kid, all of the things that any child would need: housing, clothes, food, education, all of the major needs of any child. And if a parent, for whatever reason, falls short and is not able to care for that child, then the system, the child comes into the system, and DFACS then tries to find a loving home for that child that can care for that child until there's reunification. The goal is for reunification.
Right.
And basically, so while that child is in the care, that child is able to get what is needed. And at the same time, give that parent or parents the opportunity to put things back into place so that they are able to provide for those children.
Got it. Yes. Right. And when did this organization establish itself?
In December of 2015.
Okay.
Yes. And so basically, just to go back a little bit on my history and why I ended up.
Yes.
Originally, I'm originally from Liberia, West Africa. And as I was growing up as a child in Liberia, I left Liberia the day I turned 16. That was my 16th birthday gift from my parents. to go and explore the world. Go and travel to the United States and see what
Okay.
it's about, get an education. And if you like what you see, you want to stay, you stay. And we'll just make sure to provide for you and do whatever, but go and explore the world. But meanwhile, while I was a child in Africa, there were always children in our home that were not my parents' children. But at that time, I never thought of it as foster kids.
Mm.
I just knew that they were just kids that my parents were helping their parents out because they were not able to at the time or what have you. And for me, I just thought that was a normal thing. So in moving to America and, going to high school and college and then having my own family, after my children were old enough and they were gone off to college
Mm.
and the world, so to speak, I was thinking about it and I was like, why not? I hear a lot about children in foster care.
Mm.
So why not investigate and see what it's all about? And so I did do that and decided, oh, maybe I'll take a kid or two and foster that child. Of course, 11 years later is over 300.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, I was thinking fostering. Well, as kids would come into my home, I would realize that there were some things that were missing. Some simple things that, a child with what quote unquote, whatever a normal childhood is. Someone might say, what is a normal childhood?
Right.
They were missing some things, some educational things, some just common everyday knowledge that you would think a child at the different ages should have. And so I thought, well, maybe I could start an organization that could help provide some of those things, make it available to those children. And eventually you realize when you're doing these things, there are other people that say, well, what about us? What about our children? I mean, they're not in the system, but they have some of those same needs as well.
Mm.
And so that's kind of how it started and has been growing since.
Wow. So it started from your parents' house where you felt children coming to your home was pretty normal, and raising them as part of the family is pretty normal. Now,
Yes. Hmm.
Rose, tell me, when we see children coming from, say, broken families or families that are not able to support them in terms of finances or otherwise, uh, I would assume that they have a lot of mental health issues there, challenges. So how is this aspect taken care of in the foster care system?
Well, as anyone could imagine, taking somebody from the environment that they've come to know
Absolutely, yes.
as family, as home, and putting them into a home of someone who you know nothing about, a total
True.
stranger to
Yes.
you, to your family, it's traumatic. So that in itself creates some mental health issues. Yeah, no matter how wonderful the foster parent could be, it still is traumatic for any child. Change is tough for anybody.
Absolutely, yes.
Even adults. Change is tough. So imagine coming from a home and put into another home that you don't know anything about, and they don't know anything about you. The trauma of that, in my opinion, causes some mental health issues. And there's also some of the experiences that the children go through when they're in the home um, their parent home that was not able to care for them. So let's take, for example, some children that are in homes that the parents cannot provide food for them.
Mm.
So they're going hungry for days, and they have to do some things that are not so good for them to survive. So they learn how to survive best way they know how. And you're talking about a child
I
So
know. Yeah.
imagine a child trying to figure out how to survive on their own. That can be traumatic and can add to mental issues. The fact of being separated from the people that they know to be their parents, that can be traumatic. So with all of those different aspects of things getting all mixed into a child's life, oh my goodness, you can understand why they would have some mental issues. And so therapy is important. I believe, and this is just my personal belief, that every child coming into the foster care system should automatically get some therapy in trying to deal with the fact that you're taken away from what you know as home, who you know as family, and put into a totally different environment that you know nothing about. So, for example, if you're old enough to be going to school, now you don't have any of your old friends. So you have to go to a new school. You have to now get to know new people. It's just so much that you have to do. And that can be a strain on anybody's mental. And so I personally feel that every child coming into the system should get therapy because the whole process is traumatic. That's my personal feeling. So the system does provide when they're made aware that there's some need, that they provide psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, all of those are available for the children to receive
Okay.
therapy from.
Right.
Yes,
So schools and
those
the
people.
community also is very plays a big role, right, in getting
Yes.
these children back to normalcy, so to say. Now, is it also, does it happen actually when a child is going through a foster family, is adjusted well, and suddenly has to change again for whatever reason? Does that happen very often?
Yes, it happens more often than not.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate. And it can be for many different reasons.
Mm.
Let's just focus on, let's say, reunification.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use this example. A child comes into the system, and the child is in the system for 1 or 2 years. The parent gets his or herself together. Now, during that process, maybe the parent had to move to a different um, area
Mm.
or a different city or
Mm-hmm.
something to be able to maintain. So now if they get their child back, now this child has to leave from this other school. So the first school the child was in, then the second school, now the child is going to be back to a third school. Do you see what I'm saying? And that is not to say, because I know some military families move about quite a bit. But if you were to talk to people that are from military families, they'll talk about, how tough it was because they always had to find new friends, had to get adjusted to new things and so forth. So pretty much the same thing with the foster kids. But the difference here is the foster kids are not with their parents like say the military kids, for
There's a
example.
difference,
So
yeah.
that's even harder. Yes, that's a big difference.
Mm.
So yes, with having to go to school. Now keep in mind also, when you transfer to one school or from one school to another, the where the new school classroom system level is
Mm.
might be totally different than the
Different,
school you
yes,
left.
yes.
So now if they're ahead of where you were,
Mm.
now how do you play catch up? So
True.
again, that's a lot of trauma for those kids, and it's just all the way around a tough situation for the children.
Got
You
it.
know,
Got it.
and sometimes some of the reasons, or where you asked about the children moving from school to
Yes.
school or home to home. Sometimes the children will displacement is another situation. Something goes on, the kids do something in that home,
Mm.
and the foster parent, well, this doesn't quite work for this family at this time.
Oh.
Or so then the defects has to move that child, find another home
Oh.
for that child. Or just when they first come into the system, there is sometimes where some children may get moved 3 to 7 times within a week's time because they're trying to find a home for them. And basically, they're needing a home for that child for the night. And they want to make sure they want long term, but it's not always the situation where there are homes available to take that child because that
Mm.
child may have special needs that that home is not able to provide long term, but just on the short term for the night or a couple of nights, they're able to keep that child. So now that child goes from home to home to home until they find the best home for that child. So let's use this example. This child has gone to 7 different homes, for example.
Mm.
Now that's getting to know 7 different sets of people,
Absolutely.
all
Yeah.
in such a very short time. Oh my God, I cannot even imagine as an
Yes.
adult
Mm-hmm.
undergoing that. How devastating that must be.
Absolutely. And it's not only
Yes.
that, these children can be from any background, from any
Oh yes.
race or, gender.
Yes.
So
Yes.
for them to adjust from not only that level, but a level beyond that is also asking for quite a lot, actually. Um,
Yes.
for,
Yes. There's no age or color or race or
yeah.
that you'll find all people
Yeah.
of all races in the foster care system, all ages. Some of them from newborn, from the hospital. They come from the hospital into a foster home, up to an 18-year-old might have to get put into a foster home. So it's all
Mm.
ages. Yes, it's all
Wow.
ages, all races, and everything. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm actually a little taken aback from a child coming straight from hospital to a foster home.
Yes, sometimes the child is taken away after the birth of the child because the mother might be on drugs, and the child has drugs in its system when it's born. So
Mm.
now they have to treat the child for the drug being in that child's system. And if the mother is on drugs and not able to care for that child, they're not going to send that child home with that parent.
Obviously not.
So then they find a foster home that can take that newborn, and hopefully that parent gets his or her act together, and eventually gets the child back. But there are many situations where the children end up being adopted. You know,
Mm.
so
Quite
yeah,
very,
lots of possible.
yeah, very tough situation. I would say. Let's talk about Down 7 Up 8 and your programs that you have. I
Okay.
read on your website you have something called Boys to Men and Princess for a Day. It sounds so nice.
So it's from ages 4 to 18,
Hmm.
boys and girls. Initially, we would have them separated, meaning we would have a boys to men event and we would have a girls Princess for a Day event.
Hmm.
But some of our parents had both boys and girls, and so they would struggle when they were at the event with the girl or the boy. Then they had to worry about what to do with the other child. So we decided a couple of years ago to
Same day.
join the two. Yes. So basically, the girls, they come in and they pick out a princess dress, or if they're a teenager, they prefer a prom dress. So we provide all of the dresses. The kids come in, they pick out a dress, they get their hair, nails, and makeup done, and they get dressed up in their dresses
Wow,
that they pick, in the
nice.
dress that they pick. The boys, for the older boys, they come and pick out a business attire,
Hmm.
and they get dressed in their business attire. For the little boys, they go to what we call the superhero academy. So they get to design superhero outfits and they put their superhero outfits on. And the little girls, they don't have to participate in some of the other things. They can go to the superhero academy as well. And they can also, but they can be dressed up in their little pretty gowns and also design a superhero outfit. And the goal at the superhero academy is to learn how to be a superhero at home, at school, in the community, and around the world. So we teach them different types of things, right, during the event of how to be a superhero, no matter where you are. And then for the boys, the older boys and the older girls, we provide content that give a lot of life lessons. So throughout the day, and they all sit down to a dinner, and we have entertainment, and we have guest speakers, and we have a panel of successful people that the kids can ask any questions that they want to these people. And we just have a great time. And at the end of the event, we give them a swag bag. And in that bag, with our sponsors stuff, any of the materials from our sponsors, paraphernalia from the sponsors. And just we provide a diary and a pen for every child, because we want them to walk away from there. Yes, and journal from that moment on. So every child gets one.
What a fantastic idea. Fantastic. And this is annually? This is an annual program?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it is.
Wonderful.
Yes, and it's growing and growing.
Growing. I'm sure it is. Who wouldn't want to enjoy that day? So I'm sure you have some challenges there. It's not easy to organize all of this and understand the system and understand their mental health and still go through this program, right? So please tell us about two things. One is about the support that you have from your staff or your team, and two, the challenges that you are actually facing in the current situation.
Okay. It's quite an undertaking, as you can imagine, because the event is not open to just foster kids.
Right.
It's open to the public. Because there are also a lot of single parents that are raising their kids, and we don't want to exclude them. We don't want to exclude the opportunity for them to come and experience this as well. So it's open to the public. The staff, a lot of volunteers who help us along with our board members. So we don't have a large staff. So it's quite an undertaking. But we get it done. We need support from sponsors, because it's not an inexpensive endeavor.
I can imagine.
Because we don't get the venue donated. We have to pay.
Yes.
We have to pay for chairs that the kids sit on, the tables they eat at. It's just everything. There's a cost with everything. So we reach out to our community, or anyone who is able and willing to donate, to sponsor. You can sponsor a child if you're not able to, be a corporate sponsor or something like that. So there's so many different ways that you can contribute to help make the event successful.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But it's an undertaking.
This is the annual program. This is throughout the year. Now, you also have something called Tutoring for Success and Teach Me How To. What are these two modules?
Yes, I'm proud of every program that we have,
And
of course.
rightfully so.
So, Tutoring for Success. This program came out of the pandemic. We knew that there was a need to help the kids with schoolwork and so forth. So we set up a virtual tutoring program, and this program is open to any child that needs help in school. It doesn't have to be a foster child, doesn't have to be an adopted child, any child. from anywhere. We have children, as you know, in Africa that are being tutored. We have, so it's open to the world basically. So what happens is the parent goes to the website, our website, and they sign the child up and provide us with as much information as possible so that we'll be able to align the right tutor for meeting that child's needs.
Naturally.
So we'll go ahead and align the two, and then between the parent and the tutor and the child, they work out the schedule that works best for everybody.
Okay.
And then every week, depending on what schedule they agree on, that tutor meets with that child and helps that child with the schoolwork. And we get tutors from all over the world, as well as we get students from all
Fantastic.
over. So that's our Tutoring for Success program. So we always need tutors, and we're open to all children that have a need. For our Teach Me How To series, it's another one of teaching life lessons. So I'll just give you a few examples of some of the teachments we've done. So, for example, we've done a Teach Me How to Fly Fish. So a lot of kids have no idea what it is to go fly fishing. So we will set up an opportunity for children to go and learn how to fly fish, learn how to do all the baits and all of the things that come with it. And then at the end of the program, each child gets their own fly fishing rod and all of the different things that they need. So they continue. And that gives the children opportunity to be outdoors and enjoy the outdoors, nature, to come, become one with nature.
Right.
We've also done Teach Me How to Shop for groceries that promote good health.
So important.
So,
yeah, these are life skills.
yes, exactly. So we will provide a gift card for the child to go shopping to. We'll pick a specific grocery
Supermarket.
store, and all the children meet, right. The children will go and come up with what's for dinner. And they will shop for that meal, and they have to stay within the budget. So they learn about budgeting.
I love
and
it.
yes, and then once they get their groceries, they take the groceries home, and they and their parent have to prepare the meal together. So it gives them an opportunity to spend quality time, parent and
Very
child.
true, yeah.
And they have to prepare their meal and take a picture and send us back pictures of the meal or video of a meal that was prepared.
Yeah.
So that's just, another one of our Teach Me How To.
Wonderful. I wish more schools and more institutes did some kind of activity like this, rather than sit in a classroom and teach the subject. I'm sure some of them
Exactly.
are doing it, but this is real life experience.
Yes.
Great.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
And there are a lot more that we have planned and will continue to do. We'll teach about music, for example, learning how to write music, how to go into the recording studio and actually record it, so they know the process. So when kids are thinking, oh, I want to sing, I want to be a singer, I want to be a whatever, you know what the experience is, what it feels
So
like
true,
to know, or learning how to balance a checkbook, or just knowing how to balance your funds, how to, spend or not spend, save, and so forth. So we teach all of those types of things throughout the year.
Lovely, lovely. I'm sure this gives you a lot of satisfaction at the end of the day. It comes with a set of challenges, but it gives you a lot of satisfaction. Rose, have you ever thought of, I know you are an author already, have you thought of writing a book that documents these experiences?
Yes, I have thought about it, and I'm working on trying to figure out the time to just sit and do this. But when you're doing so many different things,
Yes,
it's
it
not.
can be
But yes,
challenging.
that's one of the things on the list to do is, yes, to do a book. I do a workshop, and I'm starting to start a business with consulting so that I can help teach people who are thinking about becoming foster parents, knowing what they need to know
Right.
before they become a foster parent.
Preparing them.
So yes, I'm setting up that business right now. But yes, the book is to come.
Wonderful.
And I want to, I see looking down the road, the future. I see even some kind of a series about, the
Ah,
experiences. Right.
lovely.
I do a workshop at a conference. In fact, in February, I have to do a workshop with teaching what foster parents need to know so that they make the experience a good experience and don't walk away from it feeling like, oh my God, I should have never been a foster parent. So that it's positive. Yes.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, thank you so much, Rose, for talking to us. You are doing wonderful work, and I'm sure you are, being blessed by each of these children that are being helped by you. I couldn't thank you
Yes.
more. I do this publicly on this podcast for being such a good human being. Thank you for talking to us as well.
Oh, thank you so much. And if anybody wants to volunteer or contribute in any way, we always can use the help. And we are glad to have anyone be a part of our organization, whoever may have an interest.
Yes, Chezuba is an online volunteering platform, and those of you who are interested in tutoring children across the world or helping out in any which way that you want to, this is the website that you need to go to. Rose, could you tell us your website?
Yes, it's www.down7up8inc.org. And that's DOWN number 7 UP number 8 INC.org.
Right. Thank
Please
you.
visit us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
By providing a loving home environment, minimizing trauma, aligning children with mentors, and assisting in placement processes, Down 7 Up 8 plays a crucial role in enhancing the lives and futures of these vulnerable children. Thank you very much and see you again in the next episode. Till then, goodbye.